There's a lot of investors in this league. One investor, been trying to keep quiet about, his investment in the league ever since his comments that he made about a young rookie. Pretty much, had him in the headlines for about a month and a half. That is Geno Auriemma, dog. I'm here to tell you, he's part owner of this league.
Geno Auriemma swallows his words. As Unrivaled investment collapsing, he needs Caitlin Clark. YouTube transcript, Iro Tiu Yoakshu. There are multiple investors in this league, but one has been trying to keep a low profile regarding his involvement, especially after his controversial comments about a young rookie that stirred up headlines for over a month. That man, Geno Auriemma. Yes, he's a part owner of this league. You remember when Geno Auriemma, the well-known basketball expert, said Caitlin Clark couldn't make it in the WNBA? Well, karma has a funny way of working things out. Geno, the self-proclaimed basketball genius, is now witnessing his Unrivaled. He had investment fall to pieces.
Like I said earlier, they actually had odds that, she was like third or fourth in the betting odds to be MVP of the WNBA. That's such a slap in the face to every WNBA player. It's unbelievable, right?
0.32. Picture Caitlin Clark, the player he doubted, holding the one card that could have saved the league. But here's the twist. She's not even playing in it. As I mentioned earlier, Caitlin Clark was among the top contenders in MVP odds for the WNBA. What a slap in the face to every other WNBA player, right? It's the perfect case of you reap what you sow, with Geno's criticism coming back, to haunt him in the form of dwindling ratings and financial losses. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark continues to prove him wrong with every dazzling play in the WNBA. Talk about a plot twist. 01 or 06. Well, we've got an update on Unrivaled's viewership from last Friday, and as expected, it's not good. The numbers have tanked faster than you can imagine. We're officially under half of what the debut week brought in. You know how some people just can't stop making bad choices? Geno's showing us that yet again with his latest blunder. Arrogant from his college success, he thought he'd found his golden ticket with Unrivaled, but it's turned into a major disaster.
You guys don't remember? Asia Reese said she was also the draw. Did you guys forget about that? The hottest woman basketball player on the planet isn't involved in the Unrivaled, and weeks in, ratings are down under 100,000 viewers. So where's the lie? What am I missing?
Hero 143. However, we have some news from one of the Unrivaled owners, and let's be real, this league will crumble if they can't get Caitlin Clark in, and it seems they might finally realize that. Picture this. Geno, brimming with confidence, backs this women's basketball league. He thought he could bring his magic touch to the league, assuming everything he touches in women's basketball turns to gold. The reality, the success of the league depends entirely on star power, and Caitlin Clark isn't in the game. 02.17. Remember when Angel Reese mentioned she was also a key draw? The hottest player in women's basketball is nowhere near Unrivaled, and that's why their ratings have plummeted under 100,000 viewers. So, what went wrong? What am I missing?
However, we've got an update here from one of the owners of the Unrivaled, and let's be real, this league will not make it if they don't get Caitlin Clark involved. And I think they realize that.
Meanwhile, Geno's probably pacing in his office as those pathetic numbers continue to haunt him. And let's talk about backing up the truck to get Clark involved, because they're rumored to have offered her $1 million, which is roughly 3 times what other players make. But they've got to offer more, probably $10 million to get her to play. People may laugh, but trust me, without Caitlin Clark, they have zero shot at turning a profit. Ido 2.55. But seriously, what was Geno thinking when he signed those checks? Did he genuinely think he could create a successful league without any of the major star power? It's like trying to make a blockbuster movie without any A-list actors. You might have a great script, but no one's buying tickets.
Do I look like Geno Auriemma? could be the reason why Caitlin Clark is definitely not joining the Unrivaled 3-on-3 basketball league.
EWO 3.26. Speaking of Clark, her choosing not to accept Unrivaled's offer seems smarter by the minute. They dangled over $1 million in front of her for just a few weeks of play. It sounds great, but Caitlin knew better. She saw the bigger picture, her future in the WNBA, and priorities beyond a quick paycheck. EWO 3.57. As Geno watches his investment slip away, it's becoming painfully clear that this is a huge financial failure. The league's business plan looked great at first, but now it's about as fragile as a house of cards in hurricane winds. Let's not forget Geno's previous doubts about Caitlin's ability to cut it in professional basketball. Guess what? She's rewriting the game with every season.
They've got to back up the Brinks truck. I mean, I know they offered her $1 million, which I think was roughly like 3 times what I think most of these players are getting. I think they've got to get much bigger. I think they got to give her $10 million to play in this thing. I know some people will laugh at that, but you've got no chance of turning a profit if you don't get Caitlin Clark involved in this league.
04-26. Let's not dwell on all that. Caitlin's decision to skip Unrivaled was a power move. It wasn't just about rest. It's about proving to everyone who doubted her that she's got better options and better places to be. Geno's regret will be rearing its ugly head every time Caitlin shatters records and dominates. 05.28. The league was designed based on the idea that throwing money would solve everything. But the flaw is glaring. They forgot to focus on the stars. Without Caitlin Clark, the whole thing is heading for disaster.
Well, we got an update on the Unrivaled ratings for last Friday night, and well, as you can expect, they unraveled, as I like to say. Not good. I mean, we're basically at half the ratings now of the debut.
Unrivaled may have Angel Reese, but guess what? Nobody's tuning in for her. Meanwhile, Caitlin's choice to stay in. The WNBA shows incredible foresight as she secures her own future, while Geno watches from the sidelines as his investment crashes. EU 6.27. Remember when the world thought Caitlin was about to cash in on Unrivaled? Turns out she had bigger plans all along. Do you think she made the right decision? Let us know in the comments below. For 50 seconds.
I know some of y'all were very happy that she's not doing Unrivaled, as to stick it to the people who treated her.
There's a multitude of investors in this league, but one has been trying to keep his involvement under wraps ever since he made remarks about a young rookie that kept him in the spotlight for nearly a month and a half. That investor is Geno Auriemma, and let me remind you, he's a part owner of this league. Remember when Geno said that Caitlin Clark couldn't handle the WNBA? Well, karma has a wicked sense of humor. The self-proclaimed basketball guru is now watching his Unrivaled investment collapse like a house of cards. Now, imagine Caitlin Clark, the very player he dismissed, holding the one card that could save it all. Yet she isn't playing as expected. They even had her pegged as the 3rd or 4th favorite for WNBA MVP, a real slap in the face to every WNBA player. It's unbelievable. It's a classic case of reaping what you sow. Auriemma's criticism is now coming back to haunt him in the form of plummeting ratings and a substantial financial loss, while Clark is busy proving him wrong with every record-breaking play in the league. Talk about a plot twist.
You're not going to get the ratings, which in turn is not going to give you the revenue. The advertisers won't be there, right? You got to think about this.
We received an update on the Unrivaled ratings for last Friday night, and as expected, they've unraveled, down to nearly half of what they were during the debut week. Some people just can't seem to stop making poor decisions. Geno is now giving us a front row seat to his latest blunder. Riding high on his college success, he thought he had found his next golden ticket with Unrivaled. But this investment is turning into a disaster of epic proportions. One of the league's owners recently revealed that this league simply won't succeed without Caitlin Clark's involvement, and I think they're starting to realize it. Picture this. Auriemma, brimming with confidence, throws his weight and cash behind this new women's basketball league, convinced that everything he touches in women's basketball turns to gold. But here's the twist. The league's entire success hinges on star power. And guess who's not playing ball? That's right, the one and only Caitlin Clark. You might remember Angel Reese was also touted as a major draw, but let's not forget that the hottest woman basketball player on the planet isn't involved in Unrivaled. Meanwhile, viewership is nosediving from 300,000 to barely 100,000 viewers, like going from Madison Square Garden to your local YMCA, a freefall that's sending chills down everyone's spine.
Yes, it is unrivaled. It is also unwatched. Look, let's be honest, we can sugarcoat it all you want, but if you don't have Caitlin Clark playing women's basketball, or if you're not the NCAA tournament playing women's basketball, you got nothing. Zero zip.
It appears Auriemma might even be the reason why Caitlin Clark isn't joining the Unrivaled 3-on-3 league. And it's not just him feeling the heat. The other investors are starting to sweat too. What looked like a smart business model on paper now appears as unstable as a house of cards in a hurricane. They might have offered her $1 million, roughly 3 times what most players get. But to turn a profit, they'd need to offer her much more, maybe even $10 million to sign on. Speaking of Clark, her decision to turn down Unrivaled's offer is proving to be a brilliant move. They reportedly dangled over $1 million in front of her for an 8-week season. That's serious money, but Clark saw the bigger picture. She knew her value and where she wanted to leave her mark in the WNBA. Without solid ratings, there won't be revenue, and advertisers won't show up.
A delusional fan base that follows her disrespected the WNBA players by saying she's going to go in that league and tear it apart. There were actually odds on she's 3rd or 4th in betting odds on being MVP at the WNBA. These people are so disrespectful and so unknowledgeable and so stupid that it gives women's basketball a bad name. Okay, so the kid was set up for failure right from the beginning.
Auriemma's investment is starting to look riskier than a half-court buzzer beater, and you can almost picture him watching Clark dominate in the WNBA, knowing she could have been the saving grace for Unrivaled. That must sting, especially given how harshly he's criticized her before. Let's talk numbers for a moment. How much did Geno really sink into this venture? This is the kind of investment that could have bought a small island or funded a whole lot of college scholarships. One wonders if Auriemma now regrets all the harsh comments he made about Clark, all that doubt he cast on her abilities, and now she's thriving while his investment crumbles. It's like witnessing a live lesson in karma on the basketball court. Some of you were happy to see her skip Unrivaled as a way to stick it to those who doubted her. But
she has decided not to do Unrivaled, even though Aaliyah Boston's doing it, Lexi Hull is doing it, Kate Martin is doing it, and despite all the rumors, and I'm sure the push that was put on her. But Clark has all the leverage in this situation, and I'm not saying she flexed it, but she was comfortable enough in her position to make the decision, and it appears that answer is no.
Here's the reality. This situation exposes a fundamental flaw in how some view women's basketball. Auriemma and the other backers thought they could simply throw money at the problem and create a successful league overnight. They underestimated the importance of having true stars and overestimated their ability to attract top talent. Yes, Unrivaled exists, but without Caitlin Clark or a similar star, it's basically unwatched. Without the NCAA-level talent, you get nothing. Zero. Nothing. Remember when everyone thought Caitlin Clark was about to cash in big time with Unrivaled? Plot twist. She said no. And it isn't just about the money. There's a whole backstory that Auriemma and his investor buddies never saw coming. Even though Angel Reese may be playing in the league, who wants to see a 6'X woman miss layups?
And Diana said it best. This kid's in for a rude awakening. And they all jumped over her, but they didn't read the whole thing that she said. But nobody's printing. You know, Diana Taurasi was right. This kid's on the wrong team. She's got the wrong skill set to handle the physicality of that league. And she's a rookie. And if you're a WNBA player, if you're any kind of player, you're going to say, I'm going to make a statement.
Clark's impact goes far beyond the stat sheet. Look at the Indiana Fever. TV ratings soar when she's on the court, and merchandise sales are skyrocketing. It's like she's not just playing basketball. She's delivering a masterclass on elevating an entire sport. And it's not just the fans noticing. Her peers and analysts are comparing her influence to that of a cultural icon. Every time she steps on the court, she shifts the conversation around women's sports, drawing new fans to the league, including those who never watched the WNBA before. What's truly remarkable is how Clark has managed all the pressure and attention. She entered the league with a target on her back, with everyone waiting to see if she'd crumble under the weight of expectations.
Angel Reese may be playing in the league, but who wants to see a goofy 6'6" woman miss layups? Not.
Instead, she embraced it with a cool confidence that belies her rookie status. Meanwhile, Geno Auriemma is likely watching from the sidelines, realizing he's on the wrong side of basketball history. His old comments about her ability to transition to the pro game have withered away like milk left out in the sun. Geno Auriemma, Caitlin Clark. Once again, the world turns. It's Caitlin Clark's world, and we just live on her planet. Let's be real. Her decision to pass on Unrivaled isn't just about needing rest. It's a power move that's shaking up the basketball world.
I gotta ask you a basketball question. I know that you work really hard in the off-season. You said yesterday you're always trying to get better. What's the thing that you're working on this off-season?
I think, honestly, besides the actual basketball skill part of it, I think getting stronger, that's what I'm focusing on. I'm in the weight room a lot, just building that strength. Obviously, it was hard going right from the college season to the professional season. You don't get to spend a lot of time in the weight room, so that's what I've tried to focus on the most here. And then, obviously, a lot of things on the court. I'm always wanting to get better, and that's kind of what drives me, and I love it. I love getting to do it, and I feel very fortunate that it's my job.
Picture this. Unrivaled comes to Clark with a deal that would make most of us quit our day jobs. 7 figures for a few weeks of play. Sounds like a no-brainer, right? But Clark isn't having it. You know how Geno Auriemma couldn't seem to keep Caitlin Clark's name out of his mouth? Those comments haven't aged well at all. They've turned into sour grapes for him. His delusional fan base disrespected the WNBA by claiming she would tear the league apart, even giving her 3rd or 4th in MVP betting odds. They were so disrespectful and clueless that they tarnished the reputation of women's basketball from the start. Auriemma once claimed Clark wasn't built for the physicality of pro ball. Fast forward to her rookie season, Clark isn't just surviving, she's thriving, averaging 19.2 points, 8.4 assists, and 5.7 rebounds per game. That's not just good, that's historic.
You know, I just come out here and try to, play basketball in a way that people love watching, in a way that is going to make my team successful, and the records and whatever, or the stats, that's just what comes with.
Imagine being in Clark's shoes. You've just wrapped up a legendary college career. You're tearing it up in the WNBA, and suddenly the guy who doubted you wants you to rescue his new league. Talk about awkward. As someone wisely put it, this kid is in for a rude awakening. While critics jumped on her, they missed the bigger picture. She's on the right path. Clark's schedule is jam-packed, coming off a deep NCAA tournament run, finishing a historic WNBA freshman season, juggling endorsements and speaking events. And let's not forget, she's only human. She needs rest. Despite offers from rival leagues, including those from Aaliyah Boston, Lexi Hall, and Kate Martin, Clark has the leverage to decide what's best for her. And she's chosen no didun. You know what they say about burning the candle at both ends. Well, Clark isn't about to set her entire career on fire just to prop up Auriemma's investment. Sources close to her say she needs a break after her grueling schedule, and honestly, can. You blame her? But it's not just about rest. It's also about respect.
Geno, baby, if Caitlin Clark is on the team, it becomes the right team. Because Caitlin Clark is on it. It's like saying Michael Jordan's not on the right team. It's the right team if Michael Jordan is on the roster.
Unrivaled. Phantom versus the Lunar Owls. Please rename all of these teams. A .16. You guys know what that translates to? 160,000 viewers. The Unrivaled, Mist versus Rose. 160,000 viewers. Not good. All right, not good.
After being underestimated for so long, why should she help the very people who doubted her? It's like if your high school bully asked you to help them win the lottery. Not exactly a priority. Experts suggest that Clark's decision could have significant long-term benefits for her career. By saying no to Unrivaled, she's showing that she values her health and long-term success over a quick payday. A power move. Plain and simple. Now, think about it. You work hard in the off-season, always striving to improve. For me, it's not just about refining my basketball skills, but also about building strength in the weight room. A tough transition from college to the pros. And what about the impact on Unrivaled? Without Clark, this league is like a birthday party without cake. Sure, people might show up, but it won't be nearly as exciting. Analysts are saying that without her star power, Unrivaled will struggle to attract casual viewers. Clark isn't just a player. She's an event. And regarding all that money, Clark is looking at the big picture. A sustainable WNBA career could yield far more in the long run than a quick cash grab with Unrivaled, especially when she commands at least $100,000 per speaking event. Clark is already a hot commodity with endorsements, a massive fan base, and incredible momentum.
Bringing more and more fans to this league, people that have maybe never watched the WNBA before, and it kind of takes your breath away at points.
Why risk it all for a league that might not even be around next year? As the saying goes, success is the best revenge, and Caitlin Clark just turned that up to 11. Remember when Geno Auriemma claimed Clark fans were delusional for believing she'd dominate the WNBA? Well, she didn't just step into the league, she exploded onto the scene like a supernova. Her rookie season had fans, analysts, and even harsh critics picking their jaws up off the floor. This wasn't just good, it was history in the making. She expects to be one of the best players in the world someday, and I wouldn't expect anything less. Clark broke 62 records in her debut season and led the league in assists per game as a rookie. Let that sink in. The player once doubted is now making seasoned veterans look like they're stuck in quicksand. And just when you thought she couldn't do more, she recorded not one, but 2 triple-doubles as a rookie, the first ever in league history. It's almost as if she's playing a completely different game.
Geno Auriemma. Caitlin Clark, again, the world turns. It's Caitlin Clark's world. We just live on planet Caitlin.
I usually say I just try to play basketball in a way that people love watching, a way that makes my team successful. The records and stats just come along with it. But now, all that talk about Clark not handling the league? Analysts are eating those words for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, praising her smooth transition to the WNBA. They note that she's not only managing the physicality, but absolutely thriving in it. Her skill set isn't just impressive, it's revolutionary. If Caitlin Clark is on a team, that team becomes the right team. Just like having Michael Jordan on board makes a team great.
My expectation is to be one of the best players in the world one day. I wouldn't expect anything less than that.
More history for the FIBA rookie.
At this point, continue to be myself, and I think a lot of good will come from it.
Even as Auriemma's investment tanks faster than a metal balloon. Clark's star is rising higher than ever. She isn't just playing the game, she's changing it. Her influence extends far beyond the court. She's drawing attention to women's basketball like never before, and her stats, as impressive as they are, only tell part of the story. It's how she connects with people, turning casual viewers into die-hard fans. So, while Auriemma counts his losses, Clark is busy writing her own legacy, proving that sometimes the smartest move is the one you don't make. In this case, saying no to Unrivaled might just be the best play of her career. Do you agree? Let us know in the comments. Like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Click the video on the screen, and we'll see you in the next one.